Game 4, Western Conference Finals. Tonight's matchup is between the Dallas Mavericks, who are hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tonight, tip-off is set for 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I have a full deep dive analysis and game breakdown for you guys. We're going to talk about my predictions, my analysis for this Game 4 tonight, as well as a recap from last night, and we're going to finish off the video with some player prop leans that I have for you guys, all coming up in this episode. If you appreciate these videos, please toss me a like and a subscribe. I appreciate it so much, and it keeps all the content free and plentiful for you guys here on this channel. And yeah, drop me a comment with who some of your best player prop recommendations are for tonight and what you guys think is going to happen in this Game 4. I'm going to tell you guys what I think is going to happen, but I want to see everybody's comments, everybody's thoughts. Let's grow and earn together here on the channel together, guys. And yeah, before we go into tonight's game, let's talk a little bit about last night's game between the Pacers and the Celtics. Game 4, the Celtics ended up sweeping the Pacers. And if you watched my video from yesterday, I had mentioned that, hey, look, I don't think the Pacers are going to back down. I don't think the Pacers are going to just give them this game. And, you know, that exactly just happened. And I even said, hey, look, the Pacers are going to come out in the first half, and they're going to have a better game in the first half than they will in the second half. And by watching this series between the Pacers and the Celtics, and it's very similarly to the Wolves and the Mavericks, it's these younger teams starting off hot in the first half, but reluctantly unable to close and execute in the second half. And that's where you see the Mavericks, a veteran team led by Kyrie and Luka Doncic. And that's where you see the Celtics with their entire team being veterans, able to close out these games, not only Game 4s to end the series, but as well as all of the other games in the series, respectively. They have come back in the second half of the game, and they're able to execute the close. And so I had a strong best bet for my clients in last game, and we are now on a 5-1 run on our last 6 best bet VIP Super Hammer plays. If you guys don't know, I'm smashing NBA playoffs right now with my Super Hammer plays. And so we had Pacers plus 4.5 on the first half spread, ended up cashing. Now, it's crazy because now we are 5-1. People have said mad shit to me in the comments like, yo, Spence, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. The NBA isn't rigged, this and that. The numbers don't lie, and all of my VIP clients are eating. If you came in on a week pass, you're now 5-1 with me, which means you've won 5. If all of your units are the same, you have now won 5 games and lost 1. So you're definitely profiting money. I am profiting thousands of dollars a week with my big best bets. And if you want to check out my best bets, you can click the link in the description of this video. Head over to my Winnable. You can check it out. You can use code PLAYOFFS for 20% off any of these packages. Try it for a day, a week, a month, or you can snag a year for 20% off. It'll get you all the way through baseball, what's coming up next, a whole entire NFL season, and the entire NBA season, including all the way up until the finals. So go ahead and grab that for 20% off. These plans will change when football season's coming up or after NBA. So go ahead and get in now, and definitely get in for tonight's big bet. Tonight I have a strong best bet that I already sent out to all my VIP clients, and we're looking to go 6-1 on our last 7 best bet VIP Super Hammers. So with that being said, let's get into tonight a little bit here. Timberwolves, Mavericks, Game 4. Now, do I think... I'll tell you guys this. First, let's go over what our good friend, the public, the general population, you know, the people who are lost in the dark without a flashlight until they find this channel and they find us, right? So a lot of money tonight is on the Mavericks to close out the series on the money line. As you can see, 66% tonight is on the Mavericks, 34% of the money is on the Wolves. The Mavericks are home tonight, which gives them that edge. And also, you know, I'll tell you guys the statistics in a little while, but it's favoring the Mavericks to close tonight. All the trends and the statistics from the NBA playoffs in the past. As you can see the spread here, they're not giving us too much. It's 1.5 plus 1.5 for Minnesota, minus 1.5 for Dallas, and I'm here to teach you guys about sports betting because I know a lot of you guys are new to sports betting like myself. So plus 1.5 means Minnesota has to either win the game or they have to cover by 1.5 points. So basically, they win the game, or they can't lose by 2 points or more, which isn't very favorable. I mean, what if if they lose by 2 points? You don't cash, and so you're it's crazy. They're not giving us much. And on the other hand, Dallas has to win the game. They must win the game, and they must do it by at least 1.5 points. And so, I mean, if I was to say either one of these, I don't feel great about either one of these on the spread. Now, you can take an alternate line on the spread. My VIP has the best bet for tonight, whether it's money line, whether it's spread, whether it's total. I did. I crunched numbers today. It's my birthday today, so I'm looking to definitely go 6-1 on my last 7 big bets for you guys, because I know you guys put trust in me, and I'm looking to get it done for you guys. The over today, under, set to 210.5 right now. All 3 of these games have gone over, and I expect this game to be a shootout as well. We're going to talk about it in the analysis. The public's all over the over, as they are usually. But what's something that's interesting to take away from last game between the Pacers and the Celtics last night is that was the first game that ended up going under out of the entire series. So the first 3 games went over, the last game went under. I'm here to tell you about tonight a little bit here. So tonight, no team has ever overcome an 0-3 deficit in over 150 years. And if you guys remember last year in, I believe, the conference finals between the Heat and the Celtics were down 0-3, and the game was in Miami. So the Heat were up 3-0 in Miami playing home, and they actually ended up losing. And the Celtics actually came back to force a game 7 in Boston. They ended up losing, but that would have been the first time in history that a team has overcome an 0-3 deficit in 150 years. So it's not looking too good statistically for the Wolves to win this game, but the Wolves are kind of a special team. I'm not saying the Wolves are going to win. Honestly, whoever wins this game is a toss-up. I don't have a bet or a say on who's going to win the game, because it really could go either way. The Wolves should have won a lot of these games in the series. They ended up choking an 18-point lead in Game 2. In Game 3, they had the lead in the fourth quarter, and then they got outscored. They had a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter of last game, Game 3, and then Dallas got 14 of the last 17 points and closed out the game. And that ended up chalking our slip. We had, for my best bet, the only one we lost in the last 6 plays was I had Wolves +4, which we had until the very end of the game when Dallas outscored them 14-17 at the very end of the game, when the Wolves were winning in the fourth quarter too. So frustrating loss, but you can't win every one of them. But we're winning much more than we're losing. Now, home teams up 3-0 going into Game 4 are 7-4 straight up, and they're 0-2 the last 2 times. The over works in this situation, guys, if you're talking about total points, because both teams know the series is over, so you get less defensive intensity that you normally would get in the NBA playoffs. And so I would lean towards the over in this game. My VIP has my best bet, whether it's spread, money line, or total, as I already explained. If you want to get that bet for tonight, just check the link in the description. You can get it for like $25 if you want to do a day pass. And if you use code playoffs, it's like $17 for my best bet. Throw $20 on it, throw $20,000 on it. It doesn't matter to me. I throw $17.50 on the plays, my super hammers, and I'm cashing for like $3,000 a night. We got no Derek Lively tonight with a neck strain. That could hurt Dallas a little bit here, but Dallas does have home court advantage. Dallas is up 3-0 in the series, and some players from Minnesota have been playing like dog shit. Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards just hasn't had those superstar games that he's been having, and I believe if Karl Anthony Towns was to have a game, if Anthony Edwards was to have a game, things would be a lot different, right? But they haven't been balling out, and so I can't put too much confidence in the Wolves, but the public still is kind of riding with them. And for me, I'm like, damn, like, could a team really, like the Wolves, really lose 4 in a row? Does the NBA want to see another game in Minnesota? Could we see that? Do we really want to see 2 4-0 sweeps in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals? Personally, I think it's quite boring, if you ask me. If you ask anybody else, they'd probably say the same, and the NBA is missing out on millions of dollars. But based on how the last few games have gone, I can't really make a strong judgment on that. So I went with my best bet, and I sent that out earlier. Yeah, no Derek Lively tonight, which means let's get into some player props, guys. Like I mentioned, game fours, the home team tends to have higher scoring games. So look for the play. Look for the Wolves tonight. They're gonna play more small and more aggressive. So we might see less time from somebody like Rudy Gobert, who actually sat most of the fourth quarter in Game 3. Like I said, they're going to try and come out tonight and score. They have nothing to lose. They're down 3-0. They feel like the series is over. And Dallas as well, like, really is pretty comfortable. So I feel like they're going to be loose. And if they were going over in the first 3 games, tonight at least isn't going to be too much of a defensive battle initially, I believe. So let's talk about Anthony Edwards first. We'll just go through some Minnesota props. Anthony Edwards had 26 points in Game 3. He was 11 for 24 shooting. He made no three-pointers. Karl Anthony Towns, he had 14 points in Game 3. He was 5 for 18 shooting and 0 for 8 from the three-point line. His line tonight is at 18.5 to 19 points. He had 16 or less in each game of the series. But hey, man, like, how many times can this guy shit the bed? I'd like to see him go over tonight. I'll throw him up on the screen for points. As you guys can see, his line tonight, 19.5 here. He's done 16, 15, and 14. I mean, he's just kind of had a bad run, man. He started off really strong against Denver and then kind of like started to have bad games and really has not had a good game in Dallas versus Dallas at all. I don't know if I could put too much faith in him tonight, but if the Wolves want to win the game, Karl Anthony Towns has to do something. I mean, going 0 for 8 from the three-point line is just unacceptable, and his team is suffering because of it. So, I mean, maybe you see Karl Anthony Towns pop off a little bit tonight. Rudy Gobert, he had 9 points in 28 minutes of playing time. They sat him in the fourth quarter, and so for that reason, if I'm going to take anything on Rudy Gobert, I did not personally, but if you guys would like to, I lean to him as under tonight. I think they try to play more small ball, and I think Rudy gets less time. Naz Reid, he's been cooking, and thankfully that's what's keeping the Wolves in these games at all. He's been cooking, especially three-pointers, and that's big for him. I like his over tonight on points. I'm going to throw it up on the screen for you guys. And here you can see his line's at 12.5 tonight. He's hit this in the last 3 games, and so I think Naz Reid over on points tonight. Look at his threes here. It's at 1.5. I mean, he came off that 7 3-pointers game, like on some Al Horford shit the other night, and then he regressed down to 1. He'll probably end up hitting 2 or 3 at least tonight if you like threes. I personally would rather do points. That's just me. But if you like Naz Reid, look for him to go over tonight. Now let's talk about some Dallas player props. Now, I mentioned earlier we do not have any Derek Lively tonight. So we're going to have guys like Gafford and PJ Washington playing more time. So I look to lean those 2 props over tonight. Let's talk about Daniel Gafford. He played a playoff high of 29 minutes, but he had only 5 points in the last game after having 10 and 16 points in the first 2 games. I lean over and firm because he's going to have a lot of playing time tonight, like I had mentioned with Lively hurt. It just concerns me that he didn't really get that many shot attempts. So let's take a look at him here on the screen. And this is him last game with only 5 points. The game before he went off with 16 points. His line tonight's at 10.5, and this is adjusted because of the Derek Lively absence. So I believe before it was at about 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5. And so he has been clearing that line. Now, if you like Daniel Gafford, I would have to lean for him over tonight. However, if you're looking at Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington today, probably want to put them on different slips. Maybe you go 1 for 2 at the worst if you have both of them as overs, because somebody's going to definitely go over tonight out of those guys. PJ Washington, let's talk about him. He had 16 points in Game 3. He shot 5 for 10, playing 40 minutes. His line tonight is about 12.5. It's a little lower than recent games, and I really said like Washington and Gafford should benefit tonight from having Lively injured because they're going to get a ton of time. His line tonight, 13.5. He hit 16 last game. And I did actually lock in a player prop for him to hit 1.5 threes last game. And his line now is at 2 threes. Maybe you can find it for 1.5 somewhere still. and I would probably lock that. I think like maybe he'll have 2 threes tonight, or you can just rock with the points. PJ Washington, look for him to go over tonight, and that's what I think. He was doing really, really good in the series against OKC. He regressed a little bit, but I feel like he's been playing good the last game. Let's talk about Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. They took 40 out of 68 shot attempts for the Mavericks in Game 3. They had 18 free throw attempts. They both finished with 33 points, scoring 66 points combined. I would never fade these guys. But like I say always, there's not too much value with their lines. They're just so well priced, and so for that reason, I am gonna sit out on them. But I would never fade these two guys. Josh Green, 25 minutes last game, but he only had one shot attempt. His line is about at 4.5 tonight. I think he'll get more time tonight as well. And if we want to talk about Josh Green, the other night actually I took his 3-pointers over, and he has hit 10 out of 10 in his last 10 games for having 0.5 threes. Every single game this man's having at least 1 3. But I didn't take it tonight because the one night that I do it, he'll probably not hit it. And so for that reason I stayed away. But I like Josh Green threes. I do like Josh Green threes. You can look at how much time he's getting. He'll probably get even more time tonight. And he's done this every single game in the last 10 games. And he's done 70%, 14 out of 20 in the last 20 games here. I also really like Kyle Anderson tonight. Kyle Anderson has been balling last game with 10 points. I believe he made every single shot. And he's going to get more tonight too. His line is at 5.5, and if you like Kyle Anderson, you like the way he's been balling out, lock him in for tonight. If the Wolves want to win this game tonight, you're going to have to see Karl Anthony Towns go crazy. You're going to have to see Anthony Edwards become the superstar that he was in the games against Denver. And we could see it happen tonight. If they do, those two players are going to have to come out tonight and play for the Wolves. I don't think the Wolves lie over tonight on their back, but a lot of the lines tonight, it's just too close. I also think Dallas is in a point here where they smell blood and they want to finish this thing out and get to the and get to the finals versus the Celtics starting on June 6th. And so if the Wolves do get swept tonight, guys, we will have a couple of days rest. We'll probably do some baseball in between because we are going to keep going every single night. And then we will get ready for NBA Finals. If you guys appreciate the videos, drop me a comment, drop me a like. I'm so appreciative to have you guys here. If you're not in the free Discord, hop in the free Discord. Check out the link. Get any of the DFS apps or sports books. I get good deals for you guys in the link. You know, you'll get a deposit match if you want to try out a new DFS app. If you use my code Spence on Sleeper, Chalkboard, Better, PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy, you put in $100. All those apps are going to give you an extra $100 for free with my code, or if you use my link in the description. As well as any of the sports books, they're going to hook you up with extra money and bonus bets. So it's always good. Join my free Discord below. We live stream every single game. And, with the community, it's a great time. We're locking in last minute plays. We're talking about, what we think are good locks, player props, sportsbook plays. It's great. We're building the community. Thanks to you guys. Tonight we got war against Vegas again. We won the battle last night. We're going in there to the Capitol to storm them. And, hopefully let's go up 6-1 tonight on our last 7 best bets. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Spence Locks.